A woodworker's journey is made possible by the generous support of people like you. Please go to our Patreon page at www.patreon.com/AELLC to become a friend of the show. Without you, we would not be able to create this fine program. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Baruch Hashem, and welcome to A Woodworker's Journey. Today, I'm going to show you how I combined the front and back legs. Right now, I'm marking out which legs will be on the right side or left side, and where some cuts need to be made. As I said in my last episode, I'm going to talk more about what I'm doing or my process. Admittedly, this is a huge challenge for me, considering that I'm new to woodworking and I don't really have any wisdom to impart to the masses. In fact, as demonstrated in my last episode, I can sometimes do some dangerous cuts that should not be emulated. Hopefully, you can learn from my mistakes and not replicate them. Here I am using my square to take a measurement so that I know how high to put the table saw blade when I make this cut. In the future, I am going to show a more accurate way that I was able to raise the blade to the correct height. I've said it once and I'll probably say it 100 times. You can start a cut, but if you don't feel comfortable with what you're about to do, make sure you stop and pause for a moment to make sure that you're comfortable with the cut you're about to make. Here, I am demonstrating the more accurate way to ensure that the saw blade is at the correct height by using the actual piece to directly onto the blade to ensure that the height is correct. Now I'm going to measure out the bottom stretchers. My shop supervisor wants to make sure that I am making an accurate mark, so he's going to show me how it's done. One of the things that I am most definitely sure ends up in the cutting room floor when it comes to editing these woodworking videos is that they don't show how many times that you try to measure with your saw that the line is correctly being cut. I'm sure the reason for this is because this doesn't exactly make for exciting viewing content. My shop supervisor is making sure that everything is correctly in the frame. It is at this point, while I'm looking at the instructions, that I've realized that I've made a pretty big mistake. Luckily, it is not a critical error. Now, you can see that this particular leg has the cutout on the bottom on the wrong side. Here you can see the error more obviously. The one on the left is correct and the leg on the right is incorrect. Now I'm going to show you how I attached one of the bottom stretchers. The leg on the left had enough play where I could definitely get a correct square connection to that stretcher. If you have made it this far into the episode, I would like to thank you. If it isn't too much trouble, I would greatly appreciate it if you subscribed to this channel and liked this video. It doesn't cost you anything, but it is an immense help to me. It provides me with encouragement to continue this hobby, both as a woodworker and a YouTube content creator. If you watched episode 9, What I Have Learned in 6 Months, which I hope you have, I discussed how I prefer using corded tools over battery-powered tools. You are about to see why. I'm using my Porter cable impact driver and the battery is dying on me. I had my other Porter cable battery on the charger for most of the day. It should have been fully charged, but when I went to put the new battery in the impact driver, the battery had no charge. The battery was completely dead and would not carry a charge. Luckily, I had a smaller Makita impact driver that I use for house chores that was fully charged. However, it was not as powerful as my Porter cable impact driver. Also in episode 9, I discussed how important it was to drill the screw hole first before screwing in the screw. This was where that lesson was hammered home, or rather, screwed home? So I decided to use a countersink drill and screw set that was an impulse buy from Rockler. This allows you to easily move from drilling to screwing without having to change tools or bits. It was very useful. Unlike the back leg, the portion that I cut out of the front leg was too tight and would not allow the cross 2x4 to fit. I need to expand the cut. I decided to sand the opening to accomplish this task. I'm about to show you all the sanding that I do. I sped it up, of course, or this portion of the episode would be way too long. This type of content is often edited out of woodworking YouTube videos because it does not exactly make for riveting entertainment. But I wanted to give you a little taste of what YouTube videos don't show you when you get into the hobby of woodworking. To add a little more excitement to this sanding montage, add a comment below with your prediction of how long it took me to sand down the opening in order to fit the cross 2x4. Huzzah! It finally fits, and I'm done with all of that sanding. Now it's time to glue it and screw it into place. Now it's time for me to check to make sure that the cross 2x4s are level across each other. Hooray! Mission accomplished. It's level on the first try. Here, I am using the actual leg assembly to mark out the cuts for the top stretchers. I prefer to use the actual items that I am cutting against rather than using the instructions to ensure that I am using the correct measurements. However, even using the actual items that you're going to be cutting against still does not ensure that you're going to be making these cuts perfectly or accurately all the time. My miter saw cannot cut completely through the wood that I'm using for my stretchers, so I have to flip it over and make the cut to complete it over. Sometimes I have difficulty ensuring that this is a totally and complete straight line and straight cut, but I make do with what I have. Here I'm making sure that the top stretcher is cut to the correct length, and then I do some more marking so that I can properly make cuts to the stretcher. I don't have a bandsaw, so I use a jigsaw to make the cutouts on the stretchers. Making cuts with a jigsaw can be inaccurate when you are a new woodworker, so I'm going to sand up to the cut line. I got this sander from an online auction site. It was super inexpensive, but when this sanding strip broke, I didn't have another one on hand, so I used the disc side of the sander instead. I couldn't get all the way into the corners with the disc sander, so I had to use the hand sander to finish it up. Now it's time to attach the top stretcher to the leg assembly. I think this is the first time that an assembly and glue up went perfectly for me. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please tell your friends about us. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and like and comment on this video. A Woodworker's Journey is brought to you by the generous support of people like you. You can support this program by going to our Patreon page at www.patreon.com/AELLC to become a friend of the show. We could not do this without you. Thank you for your time, and I hope you found today's episode entertaining.